is Melissa Desimoni. I'm the Executive Director of Research Assessment and Accountability. I've been with Northwest for 9 years now.
Jonathan Pastusik, Executive Director of Financial Services, and I've been with Northwest ISD just over 3 years. As the Executive Director of Financial Services, it includes all the accounting staff, the payroll, accounts payable, as well as the budget and any of those type of decisions.
Northwest Independent School District is a fast growth district. 9 years ago when I first entered, we were about 17,000 students, and now we are opening at 28,000 for the 2022-23 school year.
About 241 square miles, and I think we're adding about 2,500 students a year at the last demographer's report. So we definitely are looking at the data constantly to see where our fluctuations and changes are so we can make better decisions.
As you can imagine, with a fast growth district where our demographics are shifting, we have more students now who represent as English language learners than we've ever had before. We grew a full 2% in the last 3 years on our English language learners. And with those demographics changing, we need to be quite a few steps ahead of the curve as far as our analytics of our data.
From my standpoint, I use a lot of the comparative as well as the financial to make sure that we're looking at, one, I use it for budgetary needs, so we use it for not only where we were, but projecting out. So we use the model to actually project out monthly and look at all those. We actually use it for all of our board reports. So we use the financial side of it to create our board reports and actually present those at the board meeting.
Student analytics democratizes the data for our campuses. So now our campuses are empowered to make better decisions because they're able to drill down. They're able to analyze the early warning systems that are in place in the analytics dashboards. They're able to develop those student lists. So instead of my office sending them Excel spreadsheets or Google Sheets with information and large pieces of data that could get into the wrong hands or could be ignored, now when a principal has a question, they are actually able to dig into that student analytics dashboard, frame up their question, look at the analytics, and determine what are their next steps, what are their next questions, and how can they wrap around those quantitative pieces with some qualitative pieces about the students, about the programs, and about their courses that are ongoing on the campus.
The best thing is it gives me both the historical look as well as the projection, so where we're going. So we had a couple years where we had some financial constraints that we had to work around, and so I was able to use the comparative tool as well as the financial tool to actually look at where those constraints or pain points might be and do that in a report fashion that was nice and clean and easy to read.
We use the location analytics as part of our process. When we start redrawing boundary lines, we need to know what programs are going to be well represented when we open up a new school, what types of certifications that we're going to need our teachers to have to best serve those students, and to be able to make sure that we have the appropriate wraparound services for that community. So our mapping analytics feature, it really works well with helping to identify that. An additional thing that we've done with the mapping analytics, we were able to determine which students had strong internet support and strong internet connections and which ones were going to need boosters. We were able to determine which students had that one-to-one device. Some of our elementary schools did not offer one-to-one, so that allowed us to move in with technology to help support the student learning during the COVID shutdowns.
So it's really helped with the budgeting process for future years, as well as the reporting side of it to show the board, here's what we've done, here's what we expect, and here's what we want to do going forward. So it's very, very easy to be transparent as well as create the reports that we need to show them.
There are many great pieces of the data analytics dashboards and guided analysis that we use every day. One of the big wins that we've had has been working with our gifted and talented department on that map scatter plot. So what they're able to do now is they're able to see where their students, which students quickly are growing at a high growth level and which students are growing at a high achievement level and which ones are not. And so now they're able to ask those questions, and students are not falling out just because they're gifted. They're not falling off of teachers' radar as far as the student still needs additional support and the student still needs some pieces to make sure that they're successful where they're at.
You know, the best advice I could give is actually just jump in. It's interesting because what I've learned with this software is it seems like I always come up with a problem. Then my question is, what information do I need to solve this problem? Or what would help me make a good decision? And I can always kind of tie it back to something in the software, whether it be going to the past and looking at the financial data, or looking at the projections, or looking at the comparative analysis. So it really, find whatever the problem is and what information you need, and then get with your person from your company to say, hey, what can you do to help me solve this problem? Or what information I need, X, Y, Z, and tell them what you're looking for, exactly what you want to see, and they'll build it.
My biggest piece of advice whenever you adopt an analytics dashboard is to make sure that you are adopting a program that is best for the audience that you are using that program for. Your central office, for your campus leadership, this really allows them to dig down deeply and richly and dig into that data and make new informed decisions based on the data that is living on their campus. You cannot find a better product than the data analytics dashboards and guided analysis that are offered here